vitally important that the body that has the constitutional responsibility of advising government should meet with the president, his senior officials, and exchange views as to the way forward. So I want to welcome you once again to the seat of government and to say that I'm anxious to hear your views as to where we are and where we should be going. There are still very important measures in place that are impacting the daily lives of our people. How long can we keep the churches closed? How long can we keep the mosques closed? What about our schools? When are they going to be able to resume? What are the circumstances and conditions that we have to see being satisfied before those measures can be taken? So, Mr. Chairman, you're welcome.
On behalf of the Council of State, I wish to congratulate you, Mr. President, for the very able manner in which you have handled the crisis that have beset this country with the advent of COVID-19. Your regular broadcast has really brought a lot of encouragement to the country, and as if by design or by accident, the clothes that you have been wearing have been depicting the mood of the country at those times. The other day it was a Nibirian soldier. Even if your eyes are red, it doesn't light a fire. On Sunday it was a bofa, dadiefa, half steel, half rock. I can go on, but these are reflections, even though unconsciously, of the spirit that has been in you. Indeed, looking at one of the speeches, it reminded me of the way Churchill conducted the affairs of Britain during the Second World War. And I said, Mr. President, this has been very Churchillian, both in your delivery and in your comportment and in the depth and content of your speech. It may be that thou art come to the country at such a time as this, if I may be plagiarizing the book of Esther. It may be that we are lucky as a country to have you at such a time as this. Your quote has been the quote of the world for the year 2020, that you can bring the economy back to life, but you cannot bring human beings back to life. Very prophetic and very insightful. Mr. President, we congratulate you on these. We are also very happy that in tandem with all the initiatives that we are taking, you had established the COVID Trust Fund, which is meant to mobilize resources for supplementing government's effort in combating the COVID pandemic. Ghanaians are a giving type, and in Jabin, people are very anxious to give, but they may not have the wherewithal to come all the way to Accra. So, Mr. President, we would like to suggest, if it will be possible, to decentralize the collection of the funds so that somebody in an outlandish part of the country can also contribute, maybe to the DCE or the MCE, so that his name too will be in the annals of those who came up to support the nation in times of crisis. While saying that your Council of State has not been aloof in the fight against COVID, we appreciate that to be able to advise you, we should also have to make first contact with the operatives. To that end, we have met with the Minister of Health and his cohorts, at which meeting Dr. Asababa was present, Dr. the director of Ghana Health Services, Abrokwa, was present, and they all gave us an idea as to the way forward. This was even before the time of the lockdown. And we did not want to remain, Mr. President, as armchair advisors. So the American will say, we did walk the talk. We did go to the offices of the Minister of Health and made, a widow's mite of a presentation in terms of over 300,000 pairs of examination gloves, a good quantity of surgical masks, and other pieces of advice. We have been pestering the minister with a lot of advice, morning, noon, and night. Sometimes I call him at some inclement hours of the day, but he has been gracious enough to take all my calls. It shows that on the ground they are also working very hard. Mr. President, I think the fact of the Council of State members all donning face masks is an indication of the fact that face masks or the wearing of same have become part of the regime of prevention. And much as we appreciate the integrity and the good intentions of the trustees of the COVID Trust Fund, we may make a small suggestion, Mr. President, in the fact that if they could go out, there to have the face masks, sewn in millions, so that every Ghanaian could have the benefit of a face mask. And you can have it adorned, donated by a COVID Trust Fund. It may be for free, but others may want to take it and put a token gesture of some amount as also their part of the effort to prevent COVID. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you.
I think the statement that has been made about the mass production of these face masks is very much on point. The Ministry of Health, I'm hoping any day, imminently, today, tomorrow, before the week is out, will come out with guidelines on what should be the minimum requirements and the minimum standards for producing an acceptable. I know there are lots of people, as we're speaking, are making face masks in their own homes, etc. But I think that for public health reasons, it's important that we should have some minimum standards that go into the making of the face masks. I think the once that comes out, then the mass production and everything can be seriously advanced. At the moment, the domestic production that we have ramped up is being confined to satisfying the needs of the health workers. That's been our first port of call. The hospitals and all of those who work in them are those who are the first port of call for the nose masks that are being made in the country. I think from there to the mass production, where we could get to a situation where everybody can have one, we will need to have some minimum standards certified by the Ministry of Health, the Ghana Standards Board, etc., and then we can go out. It's one of the things, Nana, too, that has been very encouraging in this crisis, the ingenuity of Ghanaians in responding to this. First of all, on the part of our private sector, they've stood up to be counted, producing sanitizers in large quantities now, and the masks and the PPEs are all coming out in greater and greater numbers, and I have every hope that it will be sustained. The government is using its power of purchase, its purchasing power to stimulate this development in the economy in Israel. Our scientists too have also risen to the occasion. I mean, apart from the tremendous work that is being done both at Noguchi and the Kumasi Collaborative Center for Research, the scientists working at the University of Ghana are taking some very important, making some very important advances in trying to understand the mutation of this virus and how it is playing out within our own African context. We want to get to a situation one day soon where we'll be making a vaccine ourselves on the continent, which is tailored to our conditions. Because I think, as you know, the little science that all of us know, these viruses, they affect different people in a different way, largely because of the morphology, the demography, the culture, and all of these conditions. So important steps are being taken by Ghanaians in that area as well. And it's all very encouraging that we have seen this outburst of enterprise and creativity in Ghana.